What's up, everybody? This is Real with Ryan, where I have real conversations with real people to help you get to know the real you. And today I have my homegirl Victoria here, and we just met recently, actually, through her girlfriend. She had seen me post a video on my page on Instagram, and she was like, "Hey, Ryan, my girlfriend got the same mindset you do, and I feel like I should talk it." So we just got to talking. We got the same mindset. I said, "Hey, let's run it. We gotta do this." But today we're gonna be talking about why is pain necessary. And so for me, I'm gonna start it off. I feel like pain is necessary because you grow through what you go through, and to get to know like what your strengths are, to get to where you want to be, you gotta go through something to get there.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, when you grow, it's because you've seen some stuff. So
I feel like it also helps you look at things from different perspectives too, because when you've been through stuff, you're going to be a little bit more sensitive to the other people around you. You're going to be like, oh, okay, so let me not move like this because I feel like this. And if I be on some stuff, that they could potentially feel like this, you know. It makes you want to take care of yourself more. You kind of see yourself in a different light because I don't know, you kind of know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your triggers are at the same time, just going through that. But what you think a little bit more on that?
Yeah, it's a whole process. Everything you listed, you're going one by one. You're taking your time, getting to know yourself. What makes you happy, sad? What makes you go, not go? You know, you're figuring out everything that's blocking you from finally being exactly who you envision yourself to be. So, when it comes to different growth paths, like there's so many different ways you could grow. Like you learn through almost everything in life.
Yeah. I also feel like it will also help you figure out who you need to be around, because that's a big thing. I feel like people our age, even adults too, with family members, you'll steady keep yourself around people who don't really serve you, don't really add to you, who don't. You just really got to pay attention to how you feel after being around certain people, or even in the moment too. It's just all about being observant. Yeah. So with that, when you go through things, some people just stick around because they know you're doing good. They'll just stick around because how your energy is at the time when you're doing good, but when you down and out and you over here trying to pick yourself up, they like, you can't offer me nothing. Yeah. So what am I doing here? You feel me?
Yeah, that's a whole. I see exactly like what you mean by that, because so many times in life, people will come around you and you're offering them a lot of things that you could be offering yourself, like motivation, you know, affirmations, peace. Like you offer yourself these things and then people will come to you for them and they're not ready to give it, or they're just there for a season. And that's up to you to really realize who's here for me and who's just around and see what I got going on. And it's a learning lesson, and it's a lesson in discernment.
Yeah.
In discernment especially. And that's like very spiritual, I think.
So my question to you is, how do you know? Because I feel like you're a person to care about people a lot once you get close to them, and I am too. How do you know when to push yourself first when you're, when you feeling how you feeling, when you going through stuff? Because I feel like it can be hard to do that, especially around people that you want to see do better, that you've been cool with for a long time. Like you might have friends from your childhood, but how do you know when to help them or to just let go and let God?
Trial by fire. See if they really get through it. You know, when you tell somebody how to go through something because you firsthand have experienced it, or maybe you have something to offer them on the situation, it's trial and error. See if they really take it, if they heed your advice, if it's falling on deaf ears. Usually, like I'm very giving. Like that's very true. Like if I'm close with someone, I'll try to make sure that they have what they got and I have what I got. And if they don't have what they have, I'm definitely gonna like push out what I got.
Right.
Build them up. But the only time that I know when to back off is when I don't have it. Is when I really can't afford to build you up. Like what if I'm looking at myself and I feel depleted while you're gaining, then that's also not a healthy balance. So that's trial and error. Do they listen to you? And what do you get?
Yeah. So what do you think is like the correct way to remove yourself from them type of people? Because they going through stuff, you feel
They
me?
really are.
So
Yeah.
how do you do that?
I say there's many ways to do that. To distance yourself from someone, it starts emotionally. I think it's like layers to it. So depending on the situation, I would say distancing yourself from them emotionally isn't like, oh, I don't love them anymore. It's more so you're acknowledging that their issues are theirs to solve and to deal with and to register and process and to heal from. And you can't heal for anyone.
Right.
So whenever you're looking at someone, you want to make sure that you're not overextending yourself. If I feel like the easiest way to distance someone is just to be like, okay, well, I didn't really play a hand in the situation, then that's what I'm going to think to kind of pull back my energy. It's all mindset, really. You can pull back your energy as soon as you think, well, this is really not my forte. You know, I'm not really all in on this situation.
Yeah.
It starts really with as soon as you think, I
Yeah.
can't let it be mine. Their stress be my stress.
I'm glad you had said what you said earlier about like knowing when to pull away because recently I like learned about myself. I do some reflecting that
So important.
yeah, I'm not really as patient as I thought I was with people. Okay. So I'm the type of person, as soon as I see something about myself, I'm like, boom, hey, let's work on it. I'm figuring out, okay, so I'm feeling like this. What is this coming from? What do I need to fix it? So whenever I run into people, when I'm close to people who necessarily don't do that, it's kind of like, oh, hey,
It's
let me
hard
get
to
away
get
from you. Like,
along.
yeah, for real. And it's like, I'm trying to tell them, hey, I feel like you should move like this, do it like this. But when they keep doing what they want to do and like not really wanting to fix it, I just pull away. But in some situations, Victoria, I feel like it's okay to still be there and still mess with them. It's just on the level that you're messing with them.
Yeah.
Like as far as like it gets draining. It gets draining. It's like pouring into people, knowing they still doing what they want to do, but coming to you and telling them, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what
Yeah.
but I didn't already told you what I feel like you should do.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've learned that with those type of people, it's good to communicate. Hey, I'm here for you. I love you. I want to see you do the best. I want you to progress and everything. But I can't continue to listen to,
And that's the key too, is know how to say it. Know how to let them know, I'm going through stuff too. How much of this are you really going to make me go through with you? Because I know you see me going through stuff too.
Right.
Like it's a respect thing too, being able to come to someone mutually and be like, this is getting unhealthy if you're not really taking the steps to get better, because I can offer you the steps, but our job really is only to lead you there. Like we can't make you do anything. We can guide you there, but I can't make you do anything for yourself. And that's the key really, is letting people know, being honest with them. Only you can do better for you.
Yeah,
And that's a hard truth.
it is. Okay, so let me ask you this.
It comes from love though, really.
Yeah, I was just okay, so how because I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. I feel like we can struggle with this too. So whenever you're going through something and you want to work on it and you're trying to work on yourself, sometimes people might isolate themselves, right? Okay, so with that, they might distance themselves from people that really care about them, really love them. So how do you feel like people should communicate their pain to people, or communicate that they're hurt, communicate what they're going through when they don't even know how to do it? Like, what do you think they should start?
When you don't have the words to put to the things that you're feeling, the best thing to do is to write it down. So first and foremost, I think when someone's going through something, it helps to get it on paper, journal, write a poem, just write lyrics, do whatever makes you really see what you're feeling on paper in a flow in words, put it to words. And if you really can't use your voice to connect to somebody, show them your journal. Be like, this is what I wrote. I'm being vulnerable right now. This is what I wrote. It may look like a poem. It may look like a song, but this is how I feel. And a lot of people, just based on the fact that you were brave enough to do that,
Yeah.
you you can connect that way. Even if you're scared, it doesn't have to be coming from your voice. Like a lot of people have a hard time talking when they're emotional. So make it by a different means. Find a different means to communicate that to somebody.
Yeah.
And how would you do that? Like,
For me, when I first started doing it, I didn't want people to see me vulnerable. It's like I'm that type of person that lift everybody else up, even if I'm struggling, right? So I'm like, hey, let's go, let's do this, do this. You're gonna be good, shake back. But then on the blind side, like I'm over here, you feel me, going through it. So the way I learned how to do it is I leaned on the people closest to me. I took a look in the mirror too, and I'm like, okay, Ryan, be honest with yourself. Most importantly, you got to be honest with yourself before anybody.
That's the first step.
Yeah. So I feel like that's how I started it, being honest with myself, and I'm like, okay, how are you feeling? Why are you feeling like this? I'm feeling like this because. And then it helped me when you communicate with yourself. It's a turnaround. Like you communicate with other people better. So then I would get to tell people close around me, hey, my mood off. I be using it all the time. Every time I'm mad, every time I'm frustrated, hey, my mood off. It's because of this. And so also when I give problems, I like to give a solution right with it because it's so like, how you gonna give people like your problems and expect them to know how to fix it or to have them guessing how to fix it when you're your own person.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I'll try and be like, okay, I'm feeling like this because of this. And I feel like what would help is this. You know, like time to myself. Hey, if we go on a walk, hey, if we just chilling right quick.
Yeah. And that started because you thought about it first.
Right.
You don't go to somebody before you think about it. Unless they're like your partner and it's like, as soon as this comes up, we talk about it together. But if you're on your own and you have to really like sit with yourself about certain things you're going through, then yeah, it's kind of up to you to come up with the first solution. Like, I tried this. Come to somebody after you tried, you know? And if you really need the help, they're more willing because they'll see you're trying first and foremost. And then they'll probably be able to bounce off what you gave them. Like, oh, you tried this? Well, I mean, I know something about this, how you could maybe figure out somebody. I know somebody that does this. Like, it's really, you don't want to be your own worst enemy when it comes to communicating with people. Like, you could either really, really drain somebody or help them help you.
Yeah.
So what you do is really healthy. It helps somebody help you. First, communicate that something's off, like my mood's off. And then come with them like, well, I tried this too. Like, I tried to do this and my mood's still off. Do you think maybe we could find somewhere else to go? And then now they're in on it with you. Like, that's a real healthy way to communicate.
Back to what you were saying earlier, it just made me think, like, because I've been thinking about this for a minute, and I'm a strong believer that this world is all about connections, okay? So as far as your connection with God, your connection with yourself, the connection with your, like, people around you, it's all about that. Even random people, you just never know, you feel me? But so, speaking of that, how do you know when to let go and let God?
Let go and let God. Ooh, this is a really good one. How to know when to let go and let God is to know that you can only control so much. As soon as you sort of break down your situation and you're like, okay, well, how much of this can I really put my foot in? Like, is it the finances? Is it the mindset? Is it the accessibility? Is it lack of resources? How much can you really put your foot in to change? And if you can't change finances, if you can't change the resources, then start with mindset.
Yeah.
Change your mindset first. Start with what you can change first.
Yeah.
And it's really perspective. A lot of people should start with mindset.
Right.
Because it leads to resources and everything else you need. And then God is a way to refocus your mindset. Like, when you're tapped into your more spiritual side, the side that makes you really breathe and appreciate every breath, that side of life, giving some of the harder parts of life is so much easier. Like, giving up those parts of life to God is so much easier when you realize how much better you feel when you're not actively like trying to give up, like overextend yourself to everything you're going through. Like, you can't address everything in a perfect manner all the time. It's impossible. We're not Wonder Woman. We're not Wonder Man. We're not superheroes. We're just humans. So
yeah, exactly.
know when to let up.
Yeah, that's a big lesson I had to learn of like 2-3 years ago back. Some things are just not in your control, and that's okay because that's when you know it reminds you who you really need to lean on. You know who's really here for you in this guy. You know, but so I had did a podcast probably a few months back, and I had a coach on there, and me and her used to always have deep conversations at school, right? And so I was just asking her questions. You know, I'm real quick to ask questions, like deep questions. So we were just talking, and she was telling me, you know, there's always a message inside your mess. And that really stuck with me. That stuck with me. I met her in the beginning of the year in Victoria. When I tell you that stuck with me, and I thought about that for months and months, I'm just like,
that's beautiful.
She's right.
That's in the
so
Bible.
How do you find it? How do you find that message that's inside your mess?
Yeah, that's so personal. That's deep. Yeah. Like that concept of there being a message in your mess is all throughout the Bible. Mm-hmm. There's a meaning to everything we go through. And life, like you said, you grow through what you go through. Yeah. Like everything ties in when you go back and you look at where you were. You'll see you were very lucky in a lot of situations to get out of certain things or to just have seen better results out of certain situations than you possibly could have been. And so when you really are grateful for those things that you've been through, you can assign meaning because you're like, I'm here now. And you're like, it's a refocusing of whether or not you're hurt by it or you grew by it. It's choosing which one you go with. But she's really blessed for saying that. Like, that's really actually sticking with me. Like, I'm just really thinking about that because there is a message inside your mess.
Yeah. I feel like for me, what stands out whenever I try and find a message inside the mess is I try and zoom out. And I'm like, okay,
zoom out is such a good way to put
what's something that this could teach me that I didn't know before? What's something that this could remind me of that I haven't been doing, that I haven't been sticking to, you know? So I don't know. It's just always cool for me to be like, okay, this taught me this. Okay, let me get back on this. It's just certain situations where it's like, wow, this really happened for a reason. I feel like it's every situation, but it's like, wow, you know. But back to because I had said earlier, it helps you look at things from different perspectives. How do you learn how to do that? Because I know some people, it's hard for them to, you know, like I said, zoom out in a way. So how do you think somebody can learn how to do that?
Zoom out was the first time I heard that even said. Like, zoom out is such a great way to put that. That's self-reflection. You're looking at yourself. And you're looking at yourself in a more forgiving way. Like, honestly, you doing that, you zooming out is giving yourself grace because you're not putting yourself and defining yourself by the situation that you're in. It's more so like big picture,
right?
Like where I'm at right now, what can I adjust to get to where I want to be? You still trust that you have a bright future, but you're just adjusting what needs to be wrinkled out right now.
Yeah.
And so it's very forgiving, that mindset, thinking that way. And you may have to remind me of what you said. You said
about how do you look at things? How do people go to look at things from different perspectives? But hold on, let me pause for a minute because you said something about forgiveness, and I meant to say that earlier. It's so important when you're going through things to forgive yourself for like how you may have reacted in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like how you may have thought, how you may have like had self-doubt. Like it's okay. Like take a minute. Like for me, I do mirror talks, right? So I just sit in the mirror, especially when my mood's off, because sometimes I might not always think, okay, I really don't know why my mood's off. But when you sit down and having a conversation with yourself, it's easy to do that. Right. So like forgiving yourself is so important. You'll feel a big old relief by doing that. Even just being patient with yourself when you're going through things. You might not be so quick to get up and do what you said you was gonna do 2 weeks ago, but that's okay. Like, you write it down, you put a schedule down, and be like, hey, I'm gonna do this. And you gotta, do that. And also self, like, affirmations. Affirmations is a big thing that helped me get to where I am with my confidence. So everything. It's lift yourself up. Like, it's just simple as that. You want people to, like, social media. You want to post yourself so you get compliments. You want to post yourself so people can see you. See yourself. Like, just see yourself. Zoom out. Look at you. Forgive yourself. Be patient with yourself, and you're gonna be good.
Yeah, and that's such a loving way to put it all. Like, before you expect someone else to be there for you, be there for yourself. Because you, at the end of the day, everybody gotta be held accountable to the life that you live,
Right?
Not anybody else. So it's good to be comfortable in your skin, to say I'm beautiful, to know you're beautiful, to know that you're worthy of messing up and being great after. Because everybody can be great. Yeah. Everybody. It's just whether or not you let yourself be great.
Right.
Are you forgiving enough to let yourself move on, to pass up maybe old things that you thought were for you, and move into like a better life?
Yeah.
Even one that you can't even picture right now. Yeah. But you're just forgiving yourself enough to take the next step. At least.
Yeah, I like that.
At least.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to the viewers? Leave it off with. Close
this
it off.
This was a beautiful conversation, man. Yeah. It's just a blessing to actually really. It helps, like you said, to zoom out. Like, thinking about mindsets, like Rhyan said, about having forgiveness for yourself, and also you knowing that there's a message in your mess. Having those mindsets in your arsenal, like in your brain, whenever you're down, having those messages to go to, the Bible, scriptures, affirmations, anything in the world that's positive, that'll uplift you, is worth knowing, is worth investing in, and is worth spending your time learning how to do.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a good conversation for real. But make sure y'all put in the comments how you're going to try and turn your pain, into something good. How are you going to do this week? Like, what's something you learned from this conversation that you're going to apply to your life? Yeah. But thank y'all. Hey, I'm glad you was here, bro. All right. This is Real with Rhyan. Thank you.
All right, everybody.